But when I really started breaking it down, I said, oh my God, like that is the mind fuck of the century. It doesn't mean education can't have value. It doesn't mean it can't benefit you. Sure, get you a paycheck out of it, and stuff like that if you have the right field, and that works okay. But I know you'd be amazed how many black people I know who are doctors and lawyers and professors who still don't feel free, who still feel, like slaves. It's just, instead of being a regular slave, you're like a super slave. Like you're just instead of being a regular hoe, you're a high paid hoe. Speaking of hoeing, I'll tell you what, there are a lot of prostitutes here, man. I went in with the guys. I walked into, not that Ghana is filled with prostitutes. I'm not saying that at all. So don't think I'm saying Ghana is like a country full of hoes. That's not at all what I'm saying. I'm saying every country has its hoes, but sometimes you notice them, sometimes you don't. So I walk in this club, and I'm walking in there with, and the guys I'm with, are ballers, right? Businessmen, have money. Mike Roberts is a billionaire, straight up, like with a B, with a And so I'm walking in with Mike Roberts and some other people, and the women can kind of tell, like these guys, and they don't know, like I'm taking, like I got a black woman at home. I ain't trading that in for shit, seriously, ever. But I could see the women looking. And so you start feeling yourself like, okay, look at me, I'm the man. Like these girls checking me out. And then I was like, her eyes are incredibly aggressive. She's really aggressively checking me out. Like she's begging me with her eyes. She's begging me to come over and talk to her. And then it hit me, like I'm so stupid. I was like, of course, boy, she's a hooker. Like, yeah, and I was like, oh my God. And I started looking around the room, and I mean, I'm gonna tell you, ain't nothing as gorgeous as an African woman. I swear to God, African American, all that black. Man, my God, y'all black women, y'all literally are just walking aphrodisiacs. I mean, the white women. If I was white, I would just be upset because they can't compete, and so these beautiful women, sexy, curvaceous, beautiful hair, all this stuff. There were several, like all these women sitting by themselves, just sitting there, and you look and you glance, and they're looking right back at you, like, "Come on over and talk to me." And of course, I'm not doing none of that because I'm not trying to get caught up in no scandals. Right? No conscious strippers will ever be in my life. Okay, you would never have a conscious stripper scandal with me. But but it was just really interesting, I mean, because of course I'm not gonna go out here and be jumping into stupid situations. But I was talking to the guy. I said, "How many of the women in this place right now do you think are prostitutes?" And he said, "Oh, a bunch of them." And I said, "Really?" And so I went outside, and I had to go find the ATM machine, right? And I went to go get some Ghana money and Ghanaian money. Let me show y'all Ghanaian money. Ghanaian money. I think the ratio is 5 to 1. I think that I think one Ghanaian dollar is like 18 cents or something, right? So so I get this Ghanaian money, right? And this is like half the bankroll. Like I literally, like, it's so much like cash, like I can't even fit it in my wallet because it's like so, like, because the current is 5 to 1, right? So I get this big old bankroll, and I'm sitting there thinking, God damn it, I'm like walking outside. I'm like, man, I hope ain't nobody like watching me walk to the ATM machine, gonna hit me upside the head and take my shit. And so I asked one of the security guards. His name was Daniel. I met 3 Daniels since I got here. I don't know if that's a coincidence or if Daniel is just a very common name. So I asked Daniel. I said, well, there are lots of women inside the club that are for sale. And he said, yes, lots of women for sale. I said, really? And so I was like, when people sell themselves, what do they charge? Like, how does that work? He said, oh, about $40 or $50 or something. I was like, oh my God. And so it was just interesting. I mean, you're not going to participate, but I'm a scientist, right? I'm always analyzing, taking in information. And I thought about it though, and it made me think about, I was like, wow, that's so fascinating, because as an American, I've always been led to just feel like, sex is such a sacred thing, invaluable, priceless experience, like you're really sharing something with a person. And I think it's okay to think of it that way, because when you are sleeping with somebody, you're risking your life. They could kill you, they could rape you, they could give you a disease, that you could have a baby out of that, whatever. Like, so, I encourage young people, like, really think that through. Like, don't throw your whole life away. Don't throw your whole career away because you met a strip with a big booty, or don't put yourself in the hospital, because met a guy who talked a good game, or whatever, because he looked good in gator shoes. Like, you can't, like, your body. I do believe your body is sacred, even though we're human, right? Human beings do what they do. But at the same time, I think really trying to think critically about your relationships, all your relationships, is a really important part of your success in life, in business, and everything. Like, I mean, bad relationships will ruin everything. Usually great men. And that was the interesting thing, right? So all the guys I was with, all of us just walked out. Like, there was none of the guys that stopped and were like, hey, girl, what you doing? Like, because they saw the hookers or whatever. And of course they had the money. Like, they could buy that stuff. They could spend thousands on that if they wanted to, like, and not even think about it. Because these guys literally, the guys that I'm with, most of them are millionaires. And like I said, Mike Roberts is a billionaire. And I'm not a poor man myself. And, but it's just kind of like, no, like when you're dealing with a man that's really about his shit, I believe men that are really about their shit ain't getting involved in that foolishness and that silly stuff, like literally, like, athletes and stuff, in the US and the States, because they never were schooled on the game and never trained, they're easy prey. Like, the women just play them. They just take all their money and everything. But, like, men who really understand the game, understand how your temptations can be used to make you vulnerable and to take you down. So, like, for men, I do believe that sexual discipline is a very important part of your success as a man, because if they know that women are your weakness, then COINTELPRO, all they gotta do is put a lady with a big booty next to you, and they can get all your secrets and destroy everything that you have. So don't do that. Your chance of catching a disease or AIDS is like 100% anywhere you go overseas. I don't think that's true, Radio 331. I think that's a myth. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that that their diseases aren't real. They are real. But but remember, the other thing too, people don't understand is, like, in the US, it's not as clean and as perfect as you think. I mean, in Atlanta, like, a large percentage of people in Atlanta got all kinds of shit. Like, there was a guy I talked to who was part of the LGBT community, and he said, "Oh yeah, everybody has AIDS or HIV." He said, "Oh yeah, if you have it, like, people think something's wrong with you, like you're not having enough sex, or like it's almost like a badge of honor, like almost like getting herpes in the minds of some people. So it means, like, if you're a woman and you move down there, you don't know what you're dealing with when you're dealing with the men, but also as the men, you're dealing with women who are in that pool. It's like just kind of a pool of Sodom and Gomorrah type stuff, where people aren't really. It's not that sex is bad. Everybody has sex. If you haven't had sex, you should. It's fun. It's great. But it's like, when I think doing it without thinking about it, it reminds me how I feel about abortion, right? Some people think I might be anti-abortion, but I'm not anti-abortion, or I don't believe a person shouldn't have the right to choose. I just think you should exercise your right to choose wisely. Like, think about it, like, process that shit. Like, don't, just do it and think, like, getting an abortion is like getting a tooth pulled. Like, that's a lie. Like, no, an abortion is very serious. Like, it can haunt your soul forever. So in your body, whatever, all these things, it's a life. It is a human life, whether you want to think that it is or not, it is. So I'm not saying don't make your own decision. I'm saying just don't make a stupid decision because you didn't think it through. That's the point. So same thing is true with sleeping and sex and all that stuff. Like, everybody does what they're going to do. I don't think anybody should be judged. I don't like it when people judge. Like, when people are like, oh, that man has sex with his employee. He has sex, she has sex with so and so. I don't like that. I think that's really corny, and it bothers me when people go public with other people's private behavior. But I do think that, especially for men, you got to be thoughtful about everything you do when it comes to laying down with people, because people use anything as a way to come back and get you or whatever. So you got to make sure you trust the right people. When going up against powerful entities, it is important to have the backing of your leaders, which is why I messaged you. Okay. I didn't see a message, Nadi Gili. So can you send it again? Because I don't remember getting a message from you, sister. I apologize. Dr. Irene, did you have any African professors or other students on your PhD journey? No, I did not. I never once. I went to undergrad, my master's program, and my PhD, and never once did I ever have a Black professor ever one time. And that's why I think I created the Black Business Schools, because I wanted to get black people to teach black people. And we have some really good black people in the Black Business School. So you should go, please feel free to check it out. Let me see here. See Los Angeles, Seattle. Oh, Dr. Irene's in Dallas. Okay, I've seen your name before, Dr. Irene. So it's nice to put a face with the location or name of the location. Winnipeg, Canada. All right. Tobin from Houston, Jacksonville, Exactly. Exactly? Are you saying exactly? Or are you saying Ezekiel, like Ezekiel Elliott? Who actually is kind of crazy. Ezekiel Elliott plays for the Dallas Cowboys. He played for Ohio State, where I went to school. And his dad is one of my Facebook friends. I didn't know that his dad was my Facebook friend. I just seen his name. I just didn't make the connection. What do you consider children of African immigrants who are raised in America? What do you consider children of African immigrants who are raised in America? I'd say that it depends on what they want to be. I think it's like maybe it's almost like gender identity, right? Whatever you feel like you are, that's what you are. I think that's okay to be. I mean, even when I know people get mad at me for saying this, but like I wasn't offended by Rachel Dolezal that much, not because I don't think she has a right or that if she wasn't a little weird, but I just wasn't that offended. I didn't feel like she was a threat. I felt like Rachel Dolezal was trying to help and she wanted to be part of the NAACP or whatever she was doing. And I know people felt some kind of way about her taking the scholarship or something. And I guess the reason it didn't bother me so much is because white people take a lot more from you every day. Like Popeye's Chicken probably took $100 million out of your community last week and then gave you diabetes in exchange, and heart disease, so I'm not trying to say it's okay. I'm just saying that I think people can be what they want to be as long as that's what you are, as long as you keep it 100 in terms of what you say you are. If you're consistent with it and that's what you believe, and you ride with that, I support that. So, like, for example, if you're biracial and you say I'm black and I'm black every day, 7 days a week, twice on Sundays, then I believe you and I respect that. I'm not going to judge you because you're biracial. You can't help that. Just like I can't help the fact that I have Irish blood, but I'm not running right here, celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Now, I mean, out of curiosity, I do kind of think, when I went to Scotland and I thought about going to Ireland, because I was like, I wonder if it would feel interesting to know that I have a percentage of my blood that is from Ireland, but I didn't feel it. It just wasn't there. So that's not who I am. I go to Ghana because Ghana is who I am. I don't feel like, I don't know if I have how much Ghanaian blood I have in my body. I don't care. Like I'm African. I'm more African than anything else. You look tired, bro. Maybe I am. It's jet lag. The time change is a little different, but I'm not that tired. I'm probably a little tired, like workout tired. I just ran about 3 miles and I was watching the new Rambo movie and listening to some stuff on Spotify. And by the way, I'm using the hashtag Dr. Boyce Ghana if you want to check out some of the pictures and stuff. It's been interesting. I'm learning a lot. Investing in Bitcoin in Africa. No, I have Bitcoin. I just hold what I own. I haven't added to my investment. I don't want to put too much of my portfolio in Bitcoin, but I do have some money in there. Am I on YouTube? Yes, I am. Hey, Duel, how you doing? Well, I'm on YouTube. You're on drboycetv.com. You're on there right now. I see you. I got called overqualified by my professor with my last class this semester. She discouraged me from post-bac. Oh, don't you listen to any of that shit. Don't just take advice with a grain of salt. Like if somebody's trying to tell you why you're not qualified to do something or why you shouldn't do something, first of all, fuck them. Like seriously, fuck every dream killer out there. Like seriously, like just repeat after me, like fuck the dream killers. Like let's cuss a little bit. It's Saturday night. Fuck the dream killers. Like dream killers are the biggest idiots and assholes on the planet, in my opinion. They don't know shit. And you don't know shit about why they're saying what they're saying. Seriously, you have no idea. And the hard part is you got people in your family that are dream killers. It might be your spouse, your parents, your best friend, whatever. And usually what people are doing, in my opinion, is they are projecting their own limitations onto you. It's either a limitation in terms of what they're capable of doing. So because they think it's impossible for everybody, right? Which is stupid. Like when I went to college and I told my friend, I said, I think I can make straight A's this semester. He talked to me about that like that was the most impossible thing ever done. Like no human being has ever made straight A's at the University of Kentucky. What the fuck? People do it every semester. White people do it all the time. Like, but he talked to me about it like it was like, oh my God, you talking crazy. Can't nobody make straight A. You can't make an A in every class. I'm like, yes, you can. All you do is you make one A and then you just do it over and over again. You just rinse and repeat. You just do the same thing in every class. Like, it's doable. And guess what? I did it. And I remember going up to that son of a bitch and being like, he was my boy, but seriously, that was some bullshit. I was like, yeah, I got that 4.0, and he was like, oh, okay. That was it, and so it's like you gotta really be thoughtful and careful about people that give you advice that plays a big stake in how you're going to live your life. That is your life. And it's not a thing for somebody to talk to you about what you should or should not do with the next 5 or 10 years of your life. So you go out and you live the next decade of your life living somebody else's truth and not your own. And then you realize after a decade, like, wait, that motherfucker lied to me. Well, they're nowhere to be found. They're not going to remember the bad advice they gave you. They're not going to care. So usually when people give you advice, you got to take it with a grain of salt, because a lot of times they may be projecting their own limitations onto you, and they're certainly projecting a limitation of knowledge onto you. Knowledge about what you're trying to do, knowledge about what your potential is, or knowledge about your future. Like, God has a plan for you. God, the universe and God knows what that plan is. That person may seem like they're smart, but they just don't know. I am a professor and I have a PhD. I had more education at the age of 25 than 99.9% of the population gets in their entire life. Seriously, I had been teaching college for 3 years when I was 25 years old, and I'm 23 years older than I was when I was 25. And I've been learning ever since. And I don't know shit about your life. I can give you advice from my perspective. I can tell you, I can give you my experience. I can give you the things I know something about. I might give you a point of view that you should certainly consider, but I do not know your potential. Nobody knows your potential. And I know if I don't know your potential, then that son of a bitch who's trying to hate on your ass and shut you down before you get started certainly doesn't know what your potential is. A lot of great things never happen because people don't even try. I'm just telling you. Fear is the ultimate. I mean, even beyond all the people around you that are dream killers, fear is the ultimate dream killer, because fear is what opens your mind to even hearing all these negative naysayer people that basically tell you it's not possible. And then when they tell you it's not possible, well, what do? You just shut it down. You don't try harder, because if somebody convinces you that something's not possible, you're not going to try, because you're going to be like, damn, well, why would I waste my energy? I'm going to save my energy and just sit still and do nothing. Right. And then it doesn't, and then nothing happens. And then that means that they're like, oh, well, see, I told you it wasn't going to work, because, and you're like, yeah, of course it didn't, because I didn't do anything. Right. So, and that's what I see a lot. I see a lot of people that abort their possibilities before they ever have a chance to live, and people that I've seen sometimes. So that's why I say sometimes ignorance really is bliss. Sometimes ignorance is vision. Sometimes being a little stupid or a little bit uninformed is the best thing in the world for you. Sometimes the best thing in the world that can happen to you is for you to not be educated enough to know that what you're doing is not possible. Like, seriously, like, you ever see that where somebody doesn't know that that's not supposed to be, that whatever they're doing is not supposed to be doable by most people, and they just do it anyway, and then they do it, and then they look back and somebody's like, oh my God, that was impossible. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. I went through that when I got when I finished my PhD in finance. It was really, really hard. I mean, it was really debilitating, devastating, like soul crushing, like every step of the way. I just went through all kinds of shit that I don't even talk about, because it was probably traumatic on some level. And I got my PhD. I was sitting there and I was in line, walking up on stage to receive my get hooded. They put the hood on you. I didn't know shit about those white people ceremonies, but I was happy to participate, because that meant I was going to make more money. And my major professor, his name was Dr. Andrew Caroli. He's at Cornell University right now. You can look him up. He's a wonderful man. He was about to hood me, and I remember I was trying to absorb the moment. I was taking in the moment, like I did. Oh my God, I'm here! Like I'm walking up this stage, and then as I'm walking in line, I started thinking. I started trying to process. I said, oh, how many other Black people are there that I know who got a PhD in finance this year at any school anywhere that I know anywhere? Because all the Black people in my field, we all knew each other because there weren't that many. And I said, oh my God, I'm the only one. I think I'm the only one. And then I was like, oh, that's why it was so hard. That's why it was like, it was hard because I was kind of trying to do sort of the impossible, right? And honestly, if I had known that I'd be the only Black person in the world, or only African American on earth that I know of anywhere, to this day, I have not met another African American on earth who got a PhD in finance that year. That year, in the year 2002, I don't know of anybody on earth that is Black or African American like me, who, especially those who went to an American school, who got a PhD in finance. I still haven't met a person like that. And if I had known that I was going up against those odds, I don't know if I would have tried. I don't know if I would have kept going. I kept going because I was like, damn, I must be stupid. Like, shit, I got an F on another test. Fuck, I gotta, what am I doing wrong? Like that's what you do when you just kind of believe you're supposed to do it. You just figure it out. You solve the problem. But when you believe something's not possible, then you give up the first time you run into an obstacle. You see, it's like climbing Mount Everest. There are people who believe climbing Mount Everest is impossible. But is it impossible to climb Mount Everest? Yes or no? Give me a yes or no if you think that climbing Mount Everest is impossible. Yes or no? Is climbing Mount Everest impossible? And I'm going to look it up right now. As you answer my question, I'm going to look up how many people have climbed Mount Everest. Of course, the answer is no, right? It's not impossible to climb Mount Everest. It is not impossible. And in fact, when I look it up, they said over 4,000 people have climbed Mount Everest. Over 4,000 people. Now, if I look at the number of people who have attempted to climb Mount Everest, let me see how many people have attempted. Let's see. I'm looking here. I'm looking it up right now. Let's see here. About 1,000 attempt to climb every year, and half of them reach the summit. And these are people that really spent a lot of soul searching, a lot of time and money making it happen. Okay, so out of thousands and thousands of people that have tried to climb Mount Everest, let's say 50,000 people have tried, 4,000 people have succeeded. That's a small percentage, because Everest is a very dangerous place, right? People have died trying to climb Mount Everest. Bad things happen, very easily. It gets very cold, etc. So imagine if you're talking to your friend and you say, "I want to go climb Mount Everest." Well, if the person is like one of those Negro naysayers, that's what I call them, Negro naysayers, who find a problem for every solution, or who don't believe any, who really don't go out of their comfort zone because they're scared of everything. I don't know if anybody's got anybody like that in their family. It's kind of common in the Black community because we kind of survive by being scared of every goddamn thing. Like literally, we walk around in fear constantly. Like, oh, Lord, I prayed to Jesus that I heard you went across town, and I just prayed that you were gonna make it back safely. I'm like, why the hell are you praying for me, man? I went downtown, or just me going to Africa. Like I'm not hating on any relatives. I had a couple of relatives like, I'm gonna pray extra time for you because you going to Africa, blah, blah. I'm like, shit, I live in Chicago. You need to pray for me every motherfucking day then, because it's more people getting killed in Chicago than in Accra, Ghana. Okay, like Chicago, there's really a chance of being killed in different parts of the city, but I feel very safe in Chicago, right? But that's what we do. We have this fear of the unknown, and it comes from slavery, right? Because taking too many risks and chances did get you killed. So we survive by being just afraid of everything, and I would just say that it's kind of crazy to me, So imagine if you're telling your friend, I want to go climb Mount Everest. Well, if it's a Negro naysayer, they're going to say, like, what are you talking about? Like, that's crazy. Do you know how many people die on Everest every year? Do you know how cold it gets? Or do you know how much it costs? Like, what they're going to do is they're lay out all the reasons why you can't do it and why it's going to be hard. And the thing is, you got to decide which side are you on? Are you if you're making a choice, are you in that naysayer category, the can't do category, or are you in the category of people who just get it done? Are you a person that runs into an obstacle and uses that as an excuse to stop? Or are you a person who sees an obstacle and just says, okay, that's an obstacle, we have to solve that problem? You see, that's the thing. I grow very frustrated when I talk to Black people about possibilities that exist in our community, ways that we can solve problems, ways that we can build things on our own. And they give me these problems like they're unsolvable. Like they'll say, well, Dr. Boyce, whenever we built a Black Wall Street, white people came and burned it down. We should do it because they burned it down. I'm like, yeah, well, if they burn down, you just rebuild, and then you just get some guns, you protect that shit, or you do what you got to do. You learn from the mistakes. The Vietnamese used to they got their whole country bombed, and they still kept fighting. Like that because their motto was, if you burn it down, we will rebuild, and if you burn it down again, we will rebuild again. That literally was their motto. Doc, Black people don't have any resources. We don't have any wealth. That's why we can't build anything. Yeah, we don't have any resources, but you can still start with where you are, right? We don't have as many resources as we'd like to have, but maybe if we invested as much money in ourselves as we put into fast food, we would make some progress. In fact, I know that we would, because I know the mathematics behind it, right? So I think that whole defeatist mindset is a huge reason why a lot of our people don't accomplish anything. You know, when you get demoralized like that and you just don't try, then of course you're going to fail, because you're not trying is the key to failure. Like, not moving is the key to not making progress, right? Not getting up is the key to sitting still, right? You know, so of course you're going to sit still, and so I think that for us as Black people, we kind of have to realize that anything worth doing, anything that's difficult, is going to have obstacles. So if one Black person is talking to another Black person and says, hey dog, I want to climb Mount Everest, if that person is truly a friend, they're not going to just lay out all these, well, you know, it's too cold, and you know, it costs too much money, and you know, it's too hard, and you know, people get killed, blah, blah, blah. They're going to say, well, okay, there's this risk of, you know, of the dangers. So here's how, let's figure out how we can get around that. Well, there is a cost. Let's figure out how we can save up the money. Well, you know, it is cold. Let's make sure you have appropriate gear, right? So there's a difference in terms of people bringing obstacles to you in a constructive way versus somebody bringing obstacles to you in a destructive way. And that really applies to a lot of you when it comes to, for example, you starting your businesses. Like, a lot of you are going to start these businesses and do certain things. And I met a brother who runs his name is Daniel. He runs a jewelry store. He actually he's a Black jeweler. And and this brother, he does very well. He's a young guy in his 30s, making all kinds of money running these jewelry stores. And you know, and he probably made more money if these rappers didn't run off to assholes like Jake the Jeweler. What the fuck is wrong with you? You Black and you going in debt. Like that one rapper, Lil Yachty, is like almost bankrupt because he owes $250,000 or more to Jake the Jeweler. Like, fuck Jake the Jeweler. Like, seriously, like, why not? Why aren't you buying from a Black jeweler? Like, that's just weird to me. But anyway, with that said though, he told me that he made an investment in a diamond mine or something, and it didn't work out, you know. And he said his father cried when the investment went bad. And I said, see, that's what makes it so difficult for us as Black people to go out and take the risk of an entrepreneur, is because we'll you know, something will go wrong, and you'll have people act like it's the end of the fucking world. Like, they will go cry and pray to Jesus and say, oh my Lord, you shouldn't have never done it. That's why you shouldn't have done it. Oh my God. Whereas people who understand the game just know that comes with the territory, man. You know, it's like playing a damn sport. If I'm playing football, I'm gonna use a football analogy, or basketball. It applies to basketball too. In most sports, you got to play offense and you got to play defense, right? And when you're on defense, you're trying to stop the other team from scoring. And no matter how good your defense is, you're gonna lose points. The other team is going to score points on you, right? You're pissed, you're mad, you're like, damn, I can't believe I let the wide receiver get past the defensive back. But they're gonna score. It's gonna happen, right? And imagine a football player or a football team where every time the other team scored, they said, oh God, they started crying, they get on silence, start crying and get depressed. And God, I just, every time we get on the field, we can't never win because the other team scores points on us and we just don't know what to do. That's what Black people sound like when we talk about business. Like, you know, when you have a business, you're going to have losses, you're going to have expenses. That's like the other team scoring points on you. But here's the thing, you know, football players are good athletes. When they lose points, they go in silent. You look at their face, they're like, okay, come on, guys, let's get it together. Let's go out here and let's score our points, right? Because they understand the rule of the game is basic. It's not whether or not the other team's going to score points or you're going to lose points. You're always going to lose points. What matters is whether or not you get more points than you lose. Do you score more points than you give away? If you score 45 points and you give away 35 points, then you won the game. Business is like that. With business, every business has revenue and it has expenses. It has gains and it has losses. So, you know, you're going to have the losses. You're going to have the expenses. Ain't no question about it. You know, people that do a 9-to-5 don't know nothing about having expenses at that level. It's a shock. It's a shock to your system to have expenses in the tens of thousands of dollars or whatever magnitude business you have. But what you do is you focus on going in and making sure these revenues are strong so that the revenue will exceed the expenses. And that's where millionaires come from, right? Millionaires are people where they might be like, yeah, I dropped 2 million this year in expenses, but I pulled in 8 million in revenue. So I made a net gain of $6 million, right? And people who don't really have that sort of embedded in their family culture don't get that. They see a loss and they're like, oh my God, that's so much money. How can you do that? In fact, I go through that all the time. When I don't even tell, my relatives that do 9-to-5s where they're just used to money coming in. And the worst thing that can happen is they go to zero, meaning like Like nobody's ever going to come in their bank account and take $25,000 or whatever for some expense that they have, right? That's never going to happen for them. So they don't know that feeling, right? So I don't even tell them, like I don't, like people will be like, oh my God, you spent $800 for that. Oh, that's so much, blah, blah, blah. And they don't understand why. I'll be like, yeah, it was 800, it was a loss, but let's just keep going, let's keep moving. No, boys, oh my God, that's terrible. That's so much money. I mean, that's I'm like, no, yeah, but you hustle, you grind, and you go get the money back, and you make double the next time, and it all balances out, right? And the thing is, I only have so much ability or tolerance to even hear that. Like after a while, I'm like, you're thinking small. I can't think small with you. I can't do that. I can't sit here and listen to you tell me all day why losing $400 is like the end of the fucking world, because I know what it's like to drop $50,000 on a business deal and have it not work out. Seriously, like I know how that feels. And I know that the only way you can come back, and this is just business in general, man, the only way you can come back, it's just like in football. You might get mad that the other team got an interception and just ran it back for a touchdown. At that point, crying ain't going to do shit for you. Feeling sorry for yourself ain't going to help you tie the score up. Right? Sitting on the sidelines depressed does nothing for you except make the problem worse. Good football teams, they get up and they say, okay. And I know some of y'all may not get the football analogy, but just think it's like in basketball, anything, right? You watch really good teams. As soon as the other team scores, you see the quarterback on the sidelines getting ready, warming up his arm, and the lineman just getting ready, like getting warmed up. Like, okay, we gotta go do this now. Like, okay, game's on. Like, y'all score, you got yours, we gonna go get ours, and then some, right? That's what you do. You gotta always be ready on some level, no matter who you are, to go out and punch life in the mouth. Right? You got to always say, I can take the punches. Like the punches going to come. I might bleed. I might be sad for a minute. I might have to go take a nap. I might have to go and sit and get in the fetal position for about 3 hours and eat popcorn and watch Netflix in order to get over it. But after that happens, and this is my process actually, I'll go through that. Like I'll allow myself to feel certain things. You have to, right? And you process it, and I sleep on it, and I'm like, and then the next day I wake up and I'm like, come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. And I'm telling you, man, like that is literally, I know somebody made a joke. Somebody said, "Oh, you still up working right now, ain't you?" I'm not really working right now. Like I'm just kicking life in its ass. Like I'm never giving up on anything. Like I just, my goal is to just always, no matter what the situation is, I'm always going to come out here and give 155.4%. Doesn't matter. If I succeeded last time, I'm going to give 150%. If I failed last time, I'm going to give 150%. Like you're never like I've just learned through processing all of this, that that your best speed is always forward. Like your best objective is always moving toward the finish line. It's always to get back on track, always to keep going hard, always to never give up. And that's if your dream is real for you. Like if you really care about what you're trying to do, if your passion really is your passion, and your love really is your love, and your dream really is your dream, then you got to go claim that motherfucker. You own that shit. Don't let nobody talk you out of it. Don't let nobody scare you. Don't let anybody make you think you're not worthy. Maybe you're not worthy, but shit, it don't matter. You are all you got, pretty much. And if you're not worthy, that's okay. That means you got to go get worthy, or get some people around you that can help make you more worthy. You ain't got to do it all by yourself either. That's another thing too. It's not you against the world. It's you and your squad against the world. So I have a team. I have a squad. I have people that I work with. I have people that, in fact, there was the lady that she's a princess who's showing us around Ghana, and she's a legit princess, and she was telling us a story about a certain kind of love. I forgot what the word is. I got to go ask her what the word was again. But she was basically talking about having people that just really have your back, people that have you covered, they just have your back no matter what, and how important that is, and you being that for some other people too. And so when you get people like that in your life, those are good people to have around when you're going on your journey, because the thing about it is that, the great thing about leaving your comfort zone and trying new things is that if you continuously move forward, you are always going to find things that are just amazing and wonderful. But at the same time, you're going to have a learning process. You're going to have some times where you feel like it's a mistake, but there are no mistakes. There are no mistakes in the universe. Everything, can be reshaped as a learning experience, and the more it feels like a mistake, the more of a learning experience it will become. But you must make sure that you salvage the gold that comes from that experience. Like, so when you get your agape, is that it? I gotta go look it up. I'm ignorant about that. I apologize. I'm learning. I'm trying to, be patient with me. God is not through with me yet. But the thing is, like, I'm just telling you guys, like, seriously, like, the more I think about this game, the more I realize that people that just tend to really do well are just people that just keep it moving. You have a good day, you keep it moving. You have a bad day, you keep it moving. And we don't have enough of that in the community. Among the men, we don't have a lot of that because I think a lot of our men get sort of psychologically oppressed and depressed and suppressed. So you don't have that kind of get up and go. Soldiers have that. If you really study war, like World War II and stuff like that, or great African warriors and whatever it is you want to study over warriors from any society, you'll find that soldiers tend to have a lot of that. Like, they get in these impossible situations where your friends are being killed right next to you, and it's freezing cold, and you're hungry and tired, and you got to keep fighting just for survival. But they just keep on going. They figure it out, and that's why I have a lot of respect for soldiers. I think veterans. In fact, there are a lot of veterans that actually follow me. I noticed that there are a lot of people who happen to have served in the military who follow me, and I think it's because they kind of get it, like they understand that. Attitude really is everything, and attitude kind of means, no matter how I feel, no matter what I went through, no matter what kind of setback I dealt with, I'm going to get back up and I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to pick it up, piece it together, repackage it, and do the best I can with what I have. And what you don't want to do is give up on yourself, because remember, you're all you got. You are all you got at the end of the day in terms of, this is your life to live. And don't live nobody else's life, and don't let some depressed motherfucker come along and tell you that you can't do it, you ain't worthy, or you supposed to be miserable like them. Man, fuck them. This is your shit. This is your journey. And I want you to go live your best life, whatever that means for you. Whatever that means for you. Yeah, I see some people, some vets, Sean Bill and some other vets, U.S. Marine Corps, Marine Sam. Yeah, see, I told you, I knew the veterans are always in. Michael Stallworth. Thank you guys for your service, by the way. I don't care what anybody else says. I never disrespect soldiers, because I tell you, all these people that talk shit about soldiers, they literally would have zero desire to go out and actually pick up a gun and defend and put their lives on the line for anything. Nothing. And I really would say that if you can't figure out what you're willing to die for, then you never really live. Like, you got to figure out, like, what would I be willing to really, like, give my life for, and if you can't figure that, if you haven't figured that out yet, then I think you haven't really found your purpose. So find your purpose, find your passion. Let me see. Do I collab with smaller channels? I would love for you to come on and give a brief lesson in finance. I'd like to, man. I just, it's hard but you can email manager@boycewatkins.com. And I can tell you this too. If you use my content, like, people take my videos and they'll put them on their channel. I don't go out and do little bitchy things like file copyright notifications. The only time I do anything like that is if somebody is, being blatantly slanderous or something like that. But for the most part, I'm not going to get mad at you if you take my content. So maybe a good way to circumvent that process is just take one of my videos, take it down, put it on your channel. I don't have no problem with that, man. Just maybe if you want to show respect, just mention like the Black Business School or my website or something that helps. But I don't have an issue with that. I don't know if y'all saw Roland Martin. Roland Martin filed a copyright claim against Jason Black. I don't know if you know Jason Black. He goes by the Black Authority, and so he put up a Roland Martin clip, and Roland filed a copyright claim on the clip because he got pissed off because Jason was calling him out on some of his BS. But anyway, I'm gonna go and take a shower. So you guys have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon. And by the way, we do have the Black Business School. You guys know theblackbusinessschool.com. You can get started for free. Go check it out. theblackbusinessschool.com. And also, this is our social media platform, blackenup.com. This is how you spell it. So feel free to go check out blackenup.com. All right, guys. Well, I hope that this was a helpful conversation for you, and I will see you guys later. So take care. Be good. Peace. Yes, I will check my DM right now.